Thank you for that warm and rousing welcome here this morning. I appreciate it very much. What a terrific turnout for our second annual forum on education and workforce development. Particularly delighted to have the Chamber sponsoring it. Barry Witt, thanks very much for doing that this year. You are a great partner with us in meshing the critical roles of education and job creation. Laura, after those two guys talk, no pressure on you, huh? Making sure that we have a well-trained workforce, which is a key part of your secretariat. And again, I'm just delighted to be able to come and talk again about how important this issue is, and more importantly, hear from you as the course of this conference goes on about the things that we can do to help improve our skill set in the workforce to keep our outstanding rankings. I want to especially thank Barry, you and all of your team, Cindy Miracle and Karen Sermakowitz, Witt, of course, all of you for all the planning that you did with Laura and our team to put this together with Pat and others to make this hopefully a good and productive day for all of you. I know there's a lot of folks here who have also served on some of our executive order commissions, the Higher Education, Restructuring and Reinvestment Commission, the Jobs Commission, and also the Virginia Workforce Council, Huey Battle and his team, for all of their work in helping to put the agenda together. But more importantly, through the course of this last year, helping do some good work at the commission level in order to come up with some of the ideas that passed during this past session. And I know we're going to hear after I finish from Bill Ermatinger, who's the corporate VP and Chief of Human Resources at HI, formerly NG, to hear a little bit about the importance at a employer level of having a well-trained workforce. Again, I hope what you get out of this when you leave for both of us is really a two-way street of communication, so we can communicate what we're actually doing at the state level through our various government agencies to promote workforce development and try to prepare folks, really young and old, for the jobs of the future, but also to hear from you about what your needs are and what we can do better to be more effective partners at the state level to support you in the private sector in what you do best, and that is to create dreams and opportunities and make America and Virginia more competitive. And so we're looking forward to hearing your good ideas. Now here's the good news. We started a great place. You've seen all the rankings here recently from Polina and CNBC, Virginia, #1 state in America to do business. Thank you for making that happen. That's a great start. And we ranked very high. In fact, we actually scored the highest point totals in the history of the survey this year. But I can tell you we have a lot of very competitive states that are out there not sitting around waiting to see what Virginia's doing. And we've got to continue to work hard on that. The good news is we scored very highly in some of those categories regarding regulation and workforce. And I think the bottom line is we got great people in Virginia that understand over our last 235 years, so we've had a head start in a lot of these states, that having a good free enterprise system and having a climate of limited regulation and taxation is the best climate in which the free enterprise system can grow. But I know from our efforts to try to recruit businesses from around the country and really around the world that they are asking more and more of us, not just what are your incentives up front, what kind of cash are you going to give us, but are you going to be a good partner with us for a long period of time? What kind of schools do you have? What kind of universities do you have? And how are we going to get the ongoing supply of highly trained people to keep our companies vibrant? It's particularly true in the technology sector. I memean, we're just second to California in the number of tech workers. We've got nearly 300,000, and you know at that incredible Dulles Tollway that's just flush with tech companies. That's what they want to know. And so we talked to them about UVA and George Mason and all the great schools, and Virginia Tech, of course, yes, Laura. And I should not have started on this, but all the great schools of Virginia and what they can do to make sure they're great for a long period of time. I know from growing up, my dad used to tell me, and you remember seeing those commercials that I think are even more true today, and that is to get a good job, you need a good education. And with the highly specialized roles in certain areas in the fast-moving, service-oriented, high-tech industries we have in Virginia today, I think that saying is even more true. Now, we've made some significant investments at the state level over these last couple of years in K-12 education and higher education, especially this past session as part of our top jobs for the 21st century higher education legislation that amazingly passed unanimously by the General Assembly with the divided House and Senate. I thought was a significant achievement because they all realized on both sides of the aisle how important it was, number one, to tie for the first time ever job creation and higher education, and then secondly, put specific goals within the legislation of things we wanted to achieve, starting with a focus on more degree attainment and STEM education. Those are now codified in Virginia law, and what we need to do is hearing from you today and working towards our budget here in the next couple of months is to put the resources behind it so those goals become a reality for young people going forward. We want to be able to help to break down the silos between industry and government to have more effective public-private partnerships so we truly can achieve a goal of Virginia being the most highly trained state in all of America. It's going to take a real partnership, and that's why this conference, it's only the second annual, but why we want to keep that going as a formal forum to be able to hear from you. I think it's something that we must do. This isn't just nice to do, this is something we must do. This past spring we traveled to China and Korea and Japan on an economic development mission, and next week I'll go to Israel and India. Why? Because that's where the people are, and that's where we think we can export a lot of Virginia products and services and ideas. But I can tell you, they're not just sitting around waiting to see what Virginia or America is going to do. They are incredibly competitive in those countries, are very much focusing on skilled workforce, very innovative peoples in other parts of the world, and we have to continue to look for ways to maintain America as an exceptional nation, and to me that takes an exceptional education system in order to do that. The goal really should be when you graduate from high school, you must be either career ready or college ready. If not, you fall through the cracks and your chances for access to the American dream go down. That's just not acceptable in Virginia, and that's why we have got a good start, but there's much more we think that needs to be done. So as Laura has mentioned, our goal through this top jobs legislation is to create more degrees and make them more affordable for all of our young people in our Commonwealth. The goal is 100,000 new degrees over the next 15 years. It's very attainable. We started last year, I think, with our down payment of funds for the first 1,000, but a long way to go. In that legislation also is putting a premium with those new degrees in the STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, math, and we would add to that healthcare, business, all the things that are going to take Virginia to be competitive. That's where we have asked our college presidents in the public and private universities and our for-profit education institutions to focus those degrees in those areas that we know are going to be necessary for the great jobs of the 21st century. In other words, meshing the needs of the workforce with the degrees that are put out by these universities. We also set aside in the budget last year $3 million that'll be used for funding for non-credit courses at our community colleges to expand those opportunities for community colleges to provide those essential specific training needs that businesses have, and that makes a lot of sense. As we continue to improve and retool our workforce development programs at the state level, we really believe that the community colleges really should be the epicenter for a lot of these workforce development programs because they're local, they've got their finger on the pulse of the job needs of the local community, And as we go forward this session, and I think you're about to announce soon, we hope, our new Workforce Development Director, who will be reporting to Secretary Fornash, who will help to coordinate in a more laser-like way all of our workforce development efforts in the state. We're going to be focusing more on helping work through the community colleges in our workforce development efforts. The legislation also expanded the Career Pathways Program with an additional $100,000 to make students aware of the availability of vocational and technical educational programs and to encourage students to consider those skills-based training programs to help meet the needs of employers in their communities. So this isn't just about expanding the careers of individual people, but it's about expanding the capacity and the quality of our workforce for Virginia as a whole, so that we can help put back to work the 260,000 people in Virginia right now that painfully don't have a job. You know, we're in better shape than most states, 6.5% compared to a national average of 9.1%, but that's 250+ thousand families that have to depend on government or family or the church or someone else for their livelihood because we can't find them a job. And so we've got to do a better job in this area. My concluding point, though, is that I think working together we can forge this climate of innovation and entrepreneurship that's vitally necessary for Virginia businesses to grow and expand. We have a goal, and so far we're doing pretty well with these rankings, is really to make Virginia the most business-friendly state in America, keep it that way, but also make it the best place to start and grow a business. Many have estimated that it's going to take about 50,000 new small businesses over the next 5 years to maintain the employment level in America. That's an awful lot of innovation and a lot of entrepreneurs that need to get started and get rolling. Now, some of it is making sure that at every level of government we're reducing the roadblocks, whether it's taxes, or regulation, litigation, bureaucracy, that get in the way of entrepreneurship. We can do that, but we also need to have a rebirth of entrepreneurship and creativity. And to me, that means we've got to train our young folks better and have them dream and think a little bit bigger. So our pledge is to do what we can to make sure that Virginia schools develop the STEM curriculum that is necessary to enhance their knowledge. We also want to continue our public-private partnerships and collaboration in STEM-related fields to make sure that our students really are prepared for the jobs of the 21st century. To me, that means more STEM teachers. It means more internship opportunities that we're going to ask from the Chamber and its members and all of you. It means more K-12 STEM learning opportunities, starting at a very young age in the elementary school level. You can't wait till 11th or 12th grade and hope young folks choose an innovative entrepreneurial path in K-12. It's got to start at a much earlier age with innovative programs, FIRST Robotics and some of these other creative programs that are out there. So as we prepare for the next session of the General Assembly in 2012, hard to believe they're coming back. It's like they never left. They're always here. But as we're getting ready for the legislature to come back following these little elections here that are coming up here in 6 days, we welcome your ideas. I pledge that our administration, led by Secretary Fornash and Secretary Ching, those two secretariats, Commerce and Trade and Education, are going to work very closely together on these ideas to make sure that our students truly are the best educated workforce in the nation. We're going to be looking at how we increase our governor's school opportunities in these areas, how we increase the number of STEM academies, what we can do to increase practical skills training for young people beyond just the academic experience, to be sure that they truly are ready for the workforce. So conferences like this, I think, are good. They're helpful to have this two-way exchange, but I hope we walk away here with some concrete ideas that you can deliver to our administration of things that you'd like to see us do, and that we then can do what is necessary to follow through. So thanks very much for coming. I think this is vitally important. There is no bigger claim on my time than focusing on job creation. There's no higher priority for our state and really our nation, with 26 million Americans unemployed and an intensely global competitive economy, global climate, that we focus on this important issue of training our young people and our old people for the jobs of tomorrow. So thanks for coming. Great to be with you, and we'll keep working hard together. Thanks very much.